Hello everyone, welcome, happy Sunday. Welcome back to another live stream. Another week, another weekend, and we're almost getting ready for the new week. How's everyone doing? What's up, Jack? Welcome. Welcome back, man. Thank you for bringing the sun back from Greece. It's 26, 27 degrees in the UK. It's not something that we are used to, but it's always welcome. I managed to start getting some sunbathing, which is good. Getting some vitamin D in here. Yeah, I'm actually going to Portugal end of the month for a week or so. Yeah, for a week basically. End of the month, beginning of June. Going to visit spend time with my family. So yeah, that's going to be good. Hopefully it's going to be good weather as well, so I can go to the beach and add another go at surfing, something that I did for the first time last November. Quite interesting, to be honest. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so yep, let's take a look at the market again. So as always, we look at a broad range of markets, all the way from FX, indices, then the individual FX pairs, and then some commodities as well. And just to finish with crypto, mostly Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Those are the three that I usually follow. And there you go, another move down. Bitcoin just touched once again 60k. So this was a key level actually that I was looking for. We'll see how it's going to behave around that surfing live stream. I'm still a noob, man. Just for me to try to overcome the waves, it's a challenge. To take the board with me. But it's nice. Now, Portugal is a beautiful place to surf. So yeah, I'm with some friends. They've been surfing for a long time. Yeah, but I'm a noob. They do that like they're just walking. I'm still like just struggling with everything. But it's a nice experience. Yeah, it's a nice experience. Just getting smashed on the waves at this point. But yeah, it's nice. Yeah, so paying attention to the market. Last week it was quiet. Again, kind of expected since there were no big news events, especially in the US. So no surprise eventually with a little bit of a ranging market that we had. The only news event, it was more focused on Australia and the UK. They had the interest rate decision, which maybe they were a bit more dovish than expected, especially in the UK, where it looks like there's a little bit of pressure to start cutting rates. Again, inflation is still quite elevated in the UK, so we'll see how that's going to play out. They also had GDP announcement, which was better than expected on a quarterly basis. So they kind of had a negative quarter, and then this was quite positive now, which was good, at least on that aspect. And next week, of course, we're going to have CPI in the US. We're going to have actually first PPI on Tuesday and then CPI on Wednesday. Usually that tends to be the opposite, kind of first CPI and then PPI, but this week is going to be first PPI and then CPI. In here, Fetcher Powell is going to talk at 3 p.m. Not really sure. Okay, just some conference in Amsterdam. Yeah, that's basically it in terms of UK. You're going to have also GDP, not GDP, and employment in the UK. In there. So again, of course, focus on the CPI, and that's going to be one of the key catalysts at this point to see what the Fed may do in terms of cutting or not the interest rates. The most recent data from the US is starting to show some weakness. For example, unemployment claims for the first time since last year, if not mistaken, it crossed above the 220. So it has been between this range 200 to 220, and last week it was 231. Okay, the last time we were kind of close to that level was back in November 20 2023, so last year. So let's see if this is just a spike like it happened, or it actually kind of something to that's going to be more of a regular event of starting to see these unemployment claims to increase, which again eventually is going to be reflected in the non-farm payroll, which last week was also higher than expected, or the week before that. Yeah, aside from that, not really much. Again, we had some Fed members sharing their opinion, how many rates for how much longer it should be around this level, and so on, but not really new at this point in here. So yeah, so anytime we kind of have those type of weeks where there's not really many news, the focus is more on PI, and this is also the moment where we can have a little bit of a divergence. What I mean by that is the dollar most likely is not going to be the main leader of the moves. Most likely that's going to be some divergence between maybe the euro dollar, pound dollar, and so on, which actually creates some or kind of opens a little bit of space for the minor FX pairs actually to move more, maybe than comparing with the major ones, which was something that also may have happened last week as well. Okay, so here we are. Let me just delete these words in here. There's just some levels that I was trying to see if price eventually, if the dollar eventually would get there, what would happen in here. Now, before I start even with these ones, of course, guys, if you are new, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to ask any questions as well. Basically, we're going to try to predict and to see interesting levels to take advantage for next week. Okay, so that's basically what you are doing in this stream. So this is at this moment, this is the low, like the low created on the 3rd of May. This was during the NFP. We had this big spike down, and then price starts moving upwards, and that's basically where we were last week in here. Now then during the beginning of the week, like in the first few days, we kind of start creating this pattern again, starting to range a little bit in here, start breaking some lows. But as you can see, as I have mentioned so many times, in this situation, as long as kind of that's maybe still level in here at the top, maybe price will not really reverse in here. And actually the moment that you would like to see this kind of behaviors or these patterns to occur, it's actually when price is getting really close to the extremes, okay, a little bit more closer to maybe key level of structure, in this case this supply level in here, okay, because this which will then starts to create a little bit of a gap in here that price eventually looks like it may want to sell from here, so it attracts sellers to sell at the highs, but eventually they can just be faked out and move lower. Meanwhile, we start having already this break of a low, so we start already showing some weakness before the fake out. So that's usually exactly when we want to see this pattern occurring, is when you are getting closer to a key level and there's a little bit of gap, just so to create that fake out. And that started to be the prediction in here that we saw, okay, even in this type of pattern as well. As you can see, at this point we don't really have yet a proper fake out at these highs, like I'm not really considering these ones. Okay, so basically we had one high, we had another one, we start having a low, and you finally have the move down. Like, so what was missing at this point, which we cannot fake out, these left shoulders in here kept being respected in here, like around this line. So literally what was missing in this case was the fake out, and it reacted perfectly from around this supply level in here, which was one of the zones that we were looking for. If price then still wanted to continue to go higher than that, then I will be looking for the dollar index to carry on and maybe challenge eventually these highs in here in the bigger picture. What will be the target at this point? Okay, basically you have this clear demand zone in here. Okay, so basically the break of this low basically starts opening the door for the eventually price to go up until the next level, and the next level, in my opinion, it will be this demand zone. And in here, that's why I have kind of this drawing. This is basically two levels, like either price respects this level, actually holds it and starts going upwards, or in my opinion, if you do break below this level, I think price then eventually is free to go out the way and eventually challenge this low in here, which again, in my opinion, I don't really think this low has yet reacted from the best level somewhere in here. I do think that maybe price does want to continue to go slightly lower before maybe a turn. Okay, so if I'm looking at this bigger picture, I don't really think this this low is the final target for this move to downside. So I'm still a bit more bearish in here on the dollar index at this point in here. Do you think it offered an entry or was? Yeah, unfortunately at the highs it looks like it was too quick. There was maybe an entry. Again, we are not really trading dollar index, right? So that's the situation. We are looking at dollar index and then we are trying to see the opportunity on the euro dollar, pound dollar, or any other dollar pair in this case. But if we're looking just at this one in terms of entry, where are we? In here. So again, that one got really close in there apparently. The price basically at this point is just still respecting from this next structure around this level with these highs. That's basically where we have. This is actually a good demand zone where price eventually reacts from, and then this is basically where the final fake out actually happens. So looking in the lower time frame, at least on this 1 minute time frame, yes, for example, this would be maybe my favorite entry. It would be maybe somewhere in here after we actually break this structure in here. So basically this becomes a little bit more of that structure, and then yep, price at this point is already reacting properly from the supply, and after the break of this, I think somewhere in here, especially we have actually this supply level. So somewhere in here, I think it will be what I'll be looking for the entry. In here, maybe could have, but maybe at this point, I think I would like to see actually this one being broken at this point. And then you have, of course, we have to take everything else in consideration when you are looking then in the bigger picture to actually look for a bigger target, right? Because at this point is what we have. We have this break already. This is the initial analysis that we did, and that was something in there. Again, all these levels in here looks like it has been already taken. Of course, there's maybe something in there that price could still respect one more time, but aside from that, everything looks like now at this point basically compressed in here, and then if we have the final turn in there. So yes, if I was about to look in the lower time frame, that would be somewhere in here, the level that I'll be looking for at this point in here, basically to enter somewhere in there. Yep, that would be my favorite type of entry. In this case, actually, there was PA in there, and then just rally the rest of the move in here. As you can see in this case, right? So and why in there, right? So we have actually this move upwards. In here, we actually have kind of the move upwards in there. I start breaking the first low in here, kind of start creating the structure. As you can see, this is the level in here. After that, basically price creates just bearish candles in here. This is, in my opinion, a little bit where the decision point has been made for price to actually continue to move to the downside from there. And that's why I basically have actually the rectangle catching this low. I think this low this week sometimes is quite important. Price does tend just to react from that level in here. Again, I'm not sure if we're going to 1 minute because I don't know if I have the data in there. But on 1 minute time frame, maybe sometimes there will be a different candle in here. So maybe this rectangle could be drawn all the way until there instead in there, because I do see sometimes that price literally just respects the lower edge of this level and goodbye. And basically that's it. Price just leaves after that. So yeah, that's why I have it in there, and that's why I consider that until price actually eventually get that to that level, there will be some kind of spice in there. Yeah, that will be the case in this point. Yeah, that basically that will be the type of confirmation. Like we're looking for the break of structure on the lower time frame, just to give them the entry in there, right? And then sometimes now finally it's maybe a little bit different, just because he's looking for specific times of the day, I think, to look for those trades maybe. But it will be something similar. In here. That will be looking for. And then it depends, like in terms of then the entry. I'll be looking for price to kind of react from somewhere in here. Some people may just, I don't know, draw some kind of Fibonacci from here to there, and as long as it touch the 50% retracement or 618, that's where they're going to be placing their order. Some other people actually then look for whatever the next structure is, and they are a bit more exposed to actually price touching the level or not, instead of just more of an automatic approach in there maybe, I don't know, just throw something like this to here, and apparently this one touched the this is way too much. It touched the 618, I think. What am I looking at in here? I have way too many fibs in here. Yeah, but maybe, yeah, it depends. It depends then on which one does in here. But yeah, in reality, there was actually an entry in there, a potential entry in there. If we're by any chance trading dollar index, which we are not really, we're just using this as a bias. So for next week, the bias doesn't really change, right? So bigger picture, okay, we have this double top in there that again hasn't really closed the gap that there is in there. So that's something to bear in mind. And then that's in case price does want to go higher in here. And by any chance we can indeed fake out this double top and maybe turn after that. If price by any chance, in my opinion, if it wants actually to go lower, I think where it reacted last Thursday, if not mistaken, that's where it would go and resume the move to downside. I think if price by any chance starts getting closer to this level, then yes, I'll be looking most likely for the fake out of this instead of just looking for a short. I'll prefer to see actually then the fake out of this double top. So if by any chance price does want to continue to move lower, I think where it reacted last Friday, I think that will be the case. So again, I'll prefer to see this level holding at this point and price pushing lower instead of seeing breaking. If it does break, then I'm looking for price to go higher. In here as well, if by any chance price wants to go higher, this would be the level that I would like to see holding. If it starts breaking below this level, I think price can just eventually move lower and take this low and get maybe closer to this level in there. So that will be a bit more of what I would like to see happening. Basically this structure, it's visible in most of the FX pairs related to the dollar. Okay, again, if it is the euro, it's a high in there. If it's the pound, it's kind of a high in there. The dollar CAD, it was kind of same type of a move, and dollar CAD with the news and everything, it was the first pair actually that got really close to that level. Okay, it already reacted a little bit from this demand zone and actually respected it, and it started to go slightly higher, and it's in here. So between the dollar pairs and the dollar CAD, if I'm not mistaken, it was the only one already last week that challenged a little bit this specific zone, this low created during NFP on the 3rd of May. In here, in my opinion, dollar index eventually, I would like it to see following the same path as the dollar CAD, which means kind of going down and getting closer a bit more to this level. So not really much. Again, wherever the dollar is going to be by Wednesday, in this case with the CPI, that's going to be an interesting level. We'll see what type of clues we are going to get in here. If the dollar index does want to continue to move lower, then we may continue to go at the downside. In my opinion, this is actually already even a break below it, so we start looking even further down, and maybe we can even eventually fill all of this in here and start targeting this, maybe this structure in here on dollar index. But we'll see what's going to happen meanwhile. Okay, this one zone may still be valid in here as well, even though not my favorite, to be honest, in here. So that's dollar index. Then we have euro index, which continues to be at an interesting level for potentially look for sales in here. Something interesting with this euro index is that euro index has been quite divergent from the euro dollar last week in here. So we had kind of a big move to the upside. On the euro dollar, not so much. It actually kind of had a little bit of a move downside as well, to downside. But now we are back at this level, and this is actually a good or interesting level to look for a potential short. We start already by breaking these lows in here as well, so I'm curious to see how this euro index may react from here, if it has any intention or not to resume the move down and eventually fill out this price in here. Okay, so that's something that I'll be looking at in this level. Again, it can still challenge a bit more the highs. Okay, can still get a bit closer to that level in here. So that's going to be something to also be aware of on this euro index. But eventually, I think this is showing quite a good bearish signs. But we'll see. Okay, we'll see what will happen, and if this euro index and euro dollar finally is going to be in alignment. And then the yen index, which in my opinion next week is going to be an interesting one to look for trades on the yen again. This week it has been just a pure compression to the downside, which basically is the opposite to the upside on the individual yen pairs. Challenge already this specific low, which on the other ones it will be a high, but we do have this demand zone in here, which was created kind of that second intervention from the BOG. Again, we don't really know if that happened or not, but it was on that day of the FOMC at the end of the session we had that second big move upwards in here and to the downside on the individual yen pairs. But I'm going to be really curious because price has actually compressed quite a lot in here, already challenged that low, and I'm going to be looking for those reversals. Okay, that's basically what I'll be looking for. Looking even on the daily time frame, you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, basically the 5 days of the week we have been moving down. Weekly wise, of course, it's still kind of even far away comparing with the previous week where we had the 2 interventions, but the correction it's happening, and I do like the compression. So I'm going to be all over looking for shorts at least until we have that first initial move in here to the upside. Okay, then we'll see. Then you kind of reassess in that phase. Maybe all the way until there could be interesting. In here, that's basically already taken in there, so we'll see. But the end pairs, it's definitely, I think, a high probability setup that we can look for next week. Okay, we can even have an initial attempt to go higher one more time, and then eventually price could start creating some kind of PI if it actually then wants to turn again from around this demand zone where price created that big move to the upside. Okay, so if by any chance I was in control of the market, and if I wanted to go long around this demand zone, I'll try to create a scenario where I would create a structure just above that level. Okay, so I would create some kind of support level just above that level. I'll start breaking some highs to show bullishness, and I would make as visible as possible of creating a zone in there that would like kind of a good level of support or demand zone that would attract everyone to be interested in buying around this level, and all of a sudden they completely forget that actually the demand zone is just underneath that level. Okay, we should have this small engulf upwards from this level, so that may be still see as an engulf upwards. It's just to see how price may react from here, and maybe there's even this small demand zone, not sure if this was actually touched or not, that price can even react from. Okay, maybe we can even go slightly below that level and fake out this level, and maybe from here we can actually have kind of a move in there. We'll see what's going to happen in here, but yes, that will be the ideal. Just to make it look like this level is holding, it's working, start breaking some highs, make everyone bullish, then everyone's going to be looking just at the 1 hour, 15 minutes or 30 minutes time frame within this level. They no longer even remember that demand zone is there, and they're going to be placing their stop losses exactly where they would be interested in the first place to look for the long. Then they can get faked out and they can go higher from here. That's what I would be doing if I was kind of in control of the situation. So again, that would create a lot of manipulation in terms of emotions. Okay, that would affect or play around with the emotions of fear and greed between everyone that would be interested in trading around this level. Okay, that's actually kind of one of the videos that I want to upload. It was an interesting conversation with one of our traders, that one situation like this actually happened on the pound yen basically 1 month ago or so, and it was an interesting conversation that he was short and his target was basically around this level, and he was wondering what we will do because price actually paused just a little bit above it, exactly what I described, and start to show a little bit higher, and he was wondering if he should have closed trade or not, or if he should just keep it with the final target in there with the risk of eventually getting out at break even, basically all the way through, right? So that's one scenario, and the other scenario it will be if the buyer, or if you are looking for a buy and the zone that you are interested in is around this level, right? It's the demand zone. If you all of a sudden see price pausing around this level, what would you do? Okay, if you are interested to buy in here initially, but all of a sudden price pauses in here, what would you do? Would you start feeling FOMO? Okay, maybe price is going away without me, and all of a sudden you're going to start looking maybe for trades somewhere in here, or would you be patient enough and just wait for price actually to get to your level before going higher? Like, that's a good question. That's one of the situations and emotions that all of us traders go through, and that's actually how the real manipulation happens. Like, it's not just by price moving up and down, it's that because we have expectations, we want to be involved in the trade, and if the levels that you're looking for initially, price looks like it's pausing just above it, you start getting this itching, like you start having the sensation that maybe you're missing out on the trade. All of a sudden you go back, you just start looking at the 15 minutes time frame, and everything that you see is actually price maybe starts to reverse, and all of a sudden you want to start being involved in the trade, and that was not part of your initial plan, but now you forget about it, and all of a sudden price eventually is going to create a bit of manipulation. You think that you are winning because maybe price starts actually going in your favor. Yeah, I did the right thing, I entered into the market, and then price actually just does this, you get stopped out. Now price is actually reacting from your initial level. You no longer even think that this level is good enough because you just now realize that price broke these lows, so actually start looking for shorts instead. Now you're going to look for shorts, and now actually price basically is just reacting from the initial level that you wanted from, and actually price is going to start moving upwards from here, and all of a sudden now you're looking for shorts, may get short in there, and price may react a little bit, but then goodbye, it's actually along in here. And then when you zoom out at the end of the session in the different time frame, you wondered, what the hell, I actually wanted to buy in here in the first place, meanwhile I bought in here, I had a loss in there, then I went short in here, and I had a loss in there while I had my initial plan in there, right? So again, all of us have been through that, all of us have experienced that, and yeah, that's one of the hardest parts, right? And that's actually how the manipulation happens. And manipulation is not just thinking about top, takes the liquidity and goes. No, manipulation actually is about the manipulation of the emotions that we go through during our own trading day in here. All right, moving along. This is the N index. Again, as I mentioned, I'm going to be all over looking for potential longs in here, which is actually shorts on the end. Just waiting for PI to play out in there. Yeah. 1 second. Exactly right. It's Jack saying, if you can see the manipulation, then you are the one being manipulated. That's actually what my saying is more. If you don't wait for the fake out, you are the one being faked out. That's kind of the way I it's exactly the same meaning, but it's actually kind of the sentence that I usually say. But yeah. But in this case, again, it's no longer just about PI, right? It's actually playing around with our own emotions, and that's where the tricky part happens, and that's actually where we tend then to even though you kind of know that okay, I need to wait for the manipulation, whatever it may be, but that sensation of maybe FOMO, of thinking that price is starting just to move without you, that's when, yeah, that's usually when you get trapped into what the market is actually showing us in here. Like, and that goes into a level of discipline, actually understanding the key levels that you want to be involved in. You don't want to be looking for trades everywhere, okay? Otherwise, which you're going to be all over the place. You want to know exactly where you want to be involved, where and when you want to be involved on the setup in here. All right, moving along, S&P and the indices, another strong week for the indices. Okay, so another big rally since the beginning of the month. Basically, we had that move to downside in April, and then till middle of April, basically, then you kind of start recovering in here. In my opinion, to be honest, this S&P is still kind of an engulfed down, so that kind of hasn't really changed my bias just yet. There was an interesting chart that I noticed the other day I don't know if I shared in on the server, which is about the savings in the US. Like, so again, during COVID, or kind of after the COVID effect, 2020, 2021, the savings in the US were kind of around $3.1 trillion, which was a really good number. And apparently people in that moment, because maybe they couldn't really spend, they couldn't really leave their house, like everyone was in lockdown, it was maybe more just online shopping and nothing much. No one was traveling, no one was eating in restaurants and so on. And no one was buying new cars because you couldn't even move. So everyone kind of saved up a little bit. But now, 3 years later, the savings are back to zero and even below the initial level from COVID. And that's a big problem, and that's going to be reflected eventually in the US economy and the data as well. Like, so this is the moment where maybe people are going to start being forced to sell their houses, sell their cars, and so on, because there's no more. They don't have savings. And credit card on the other side kind of skyrocketed at this point, right? So again, this is going to be reflected eventually, and it's going to maybe create an impact on the. Not maybe, most likely it's going to create an impact in here on the market and in the indices and the US economy, especially if the Fed continues to delay this cut in the interest rate. So that's a big factor. We should just try to save this. Just give me a second. To show the chart that I was talking about. Nope, not you. Copying. Yeah, it should work. This is not working. Yeah, for some reason I'm not really able to. Okay, visit site. Okay. See if I can open up in here. Alright, this is the one. Yeah, 2.1 trillion, not even one, 2.1 trillion. And there you go. This is where we are today, already minus 72 billion, which is a big yeah, it says a lot. This chart alone, it says a lot, and this eventually is going to be reflected. The market eventually can again, this is one of those data that you need to pay attention to. Being so bullish when you have data like this may not be reasonable, but we'll see. You'll see what's going to happen. Now, the indices, okay, now, in my opinion, this actually is a break to the downside into this compression, so I'm kind of still looking at potential bearish signs in here on the S&P. Even if you break new highs, eventually the move to downside is going to be filling out this price in here and eventually take that low, but at the highs in here we still have valid levels in here with the supply level and even the extreme in there. Even though if you do get close to the highs in here, I think we are going to have new all-time highs, just because this is all-time high, so there's always a chance of creating new all-time high before actually moving down. But again, this supply level is still fresh, and this is actually maybe an interesting level in here to look for. Now, something interesting is that this supply level, so it's still fresh on S&P, but on NASDAQ, price actually reacted from it, okay? So basically, these highs, it was on the 12 of April. Those highs actually picked out that level, okay? So those highs actually picked out this high here and then moved down, okay? So that was on NASDAQ. And S&P, this high just reacted from here, which still leaves this supply level fresh behind, and that's maybe a level to pay attention to. Again, you start showing a little bit of weakness in here, kind of a few lows in here too that were broken on the way. Of course, we still have definitely this level in here. Price can just retrace from here and resume the move to the upside, or a bit deeper as well, and resume the move to the upside. But that's still a key level that you need to pay attention to. But yes, I am curious to see how S&P eventually can react from here. Eventually the highs, but again, the highs at this point, it's a bit tricky. And as we literally have bearish PI being presented in here, and then price may respect that level, and then we can turn in there. But yes, so this is going to be an interesting one to pay attention. This initially was a level as well that you're looking for this week, but price which we respected perfectly this demand zone, and therefore no longer the engulf, and you're looking then for price to go higher. I kind of broke again in here, so it's going to be interesting to see what may happen around that level in here. Okay, so again, interesting PA in here with the break of the level, maybe just respected this demand zone, to be honest, but it's another demand zone that has been taken, a lot of compression in here, so we will see. We'll see what's going to happen in there. But yes, so that's a difference in here between NASDAQ and S&P. Okay, this is the level that I mentioned. Again, on the 11th of April, price fake out this high in here, reacted from the supply level, and now, so what's the difference in here, right? So basically on the S&P, we may still fake out this high and then turn. On NASDAQ, we may not really need to fake out this high. We can just maybe respect the left shoulder in here and go down from there. Now, this was a good decision point in there. Maybe we can have a little bit of another one in there as well. Okay, and eventually maybe we can feel a little bit at least of this price coming back towards this level and maybe move higher after that. Okay, so that's something to bear in mind. In here, we are in this zone 3 type of a move. Again, a little bit of this compression, and we'll see how price may react from this level. But at this point, we may not need to actually fake out this high, since it's already react from the supply. S&P can still go and fake out that level in there. So that's just something to bear in mind as well. In here, again, over time frame, there's maybe something in there that could react from, start breaking slightly these flows as well in here. So that's going to be an interesting one to follow also this week. Like, and when you are in this kind of zone 3, which is kind of this compression period, okay, where price goes up and down, up and down, up and down, while it still actually continues to break new highs. But the reality is that intraday, you may have opportunities to either go short or to go long. Like maybe you could have short in here, short in here, even shorter maybe somewhere in there, or shorter in there. Right? There's still opportunities to go short, the same way that then you could go long in here, basically going there, whatever. Right? There are opportunities to go both ways at this case. Okay, because price goes up, traces, then goes up again, maybe creates new highs, fake outs again, and it keeps going like that. In here, if I think that do you find some assets that respect your analysis more than others? I think it's quite similar, to be honest. Yeah, it tends to be quite similar. Commodities, for example, oil tends to respect quite nicely every single supply and demand, at least for a little bit, and then just may crash it completely. But it tends to respect. Even the indices somehow like to respect still the levels, even if it is just a small move. Okay, for example, even if it was just respecting this supply in here, okay, maybe even if it's just this move from here to here, this is still price respecting it. Then you just need to expect kind of have right expectations in terms of the targets. Okay, don't really expect price to react from every single supply or demand zone and to have a big move from there. No, the only thing available maybe just this level, and from here price is ready to go up. And that's it. That's maybe the only target that you can expect from in here, right? But in general, prices move quite similarly. Of course, some may have more aggressive moves and so on, but it does tend to react quite nicely, to be honest. In here, in general, yeah, that's basically what I would see. Again, it's basically. Hello? Am I live in here? Am I live? I hope so. This was weird. Thanks, Jack, for the message. What happened? Let's just see if I'm live again. Yeah, I should be alive. All right, fair enough. Yeah, it's just weird, man. Just start running quite a lot. Not sure if some thunders as well. And my PC just turned off completely. Which is, yeah, it's maybe the same. It's weird because I actually have one of these I don't know, energy boosters, whatever, that actually keeps your PC on, or whatever is connected with that safety, for around 30 minutes maybe. So if by any chance I have zero electricity going on, I can still kind of keep everything on for, I don't know, 10, 15, 30 minutes. It depends how many things I have connected with it. But that was actually the thing that switched off. So it was quite weird. Whatever. But yeah, I always had one of these, because the last thing I wanted was to be in the middle of a trade, run out of electricity, and not being able to manage a trade. Yeah, at least for that part I wanted to be safe. Yep, it's just this typical weather, right? In England, in the UK, anytime it's kind of 2-3 days in a row with 26, 27 degrees. Yep, it's kind of just accumulating for the rain to come in and kind of balance out the weather, kind of. All right, S&P and NASDAQ, like I think that's what we were talking about, and that specific level in there that may or may not still be faked out. So we'll see. Okay, again, the compression, that's quite nice as well. Of course, the momentum is at this point is a bit bullish, and we'll see what's going to happen in here on the indices. I think there's going to be opportunities to either go long and short, just about managing your own expectations as well. Dow continues to go higher, so Dow continues to make another leg up in here. Okay, Dow, it's a bit different because in my opinion Dow actually respects perfectly the target that you wanted to. So that, in my opinion, there's no engulf down, price respected, and if it wants to break new highs, it can break new highs. That was the target, that was the original target. Just 1 second, just bring my notes in here. Right, my epic pen. Okay, so yeah, Dow basically respected perfectly this level, and from here it can basically just resume the move higher if that it wants what it wants to do. Now at this extreme in here at the highs, yes, there's maybe still some fresh levels in there that the price can bounce. Price can maybe react from here, come back to this level, and eventually go higher. We will see. Okay, we'll see what's going to happen in here, but comparing with the other ones, maybe slightly more bullish or not. Yeah, so again, just curious to see how price may react from there, but there was no engulf down at this point. And then DAX is just skyrocketing to the moon. Price literally was challenging a little bit this level. That level was still fresh. Price did respect a little bit from that level, and then it never broke below this demand zone, and eventually the buyers will be to move to the upside in here. Right, so that was the key level in here. If it breaks below, it maybe can go slightly lower, at least maybe towards here. If not, we'll just continue at this point. Again, at this point, it resumes that topic that we talked about maybe 1.5 months ago, when we had all these all-time highs being created every day or every week. It's all-time highs moment, and what you want to see in there is weakness. Okay, so we want to see now price broke with momentum. There is definitely this original target that we can look for on this retracement, which is just as a normal move eventually can retest the previous high in here. Okay, so that could be eventually, if you're looking for any shorts, that could be kind of a resume towards this level before maybe or kind of retest towards this level before maybe going upwards again. So eventually that can be one of the targets to look for a sell, okay, with the right PA. At this point, we still have this demand zone, so that's a level that DAX can still respect. And then, of course, we want to see some weakness. We want to see some attractness or price attracting more sellers into it until eventually they can be faked out. Okay, and before that we actually want to see a low being broken just to start giving that that potential buyers of looking for a sell, and then price can resume to move upwards again, and then kind of create kind of a double top again. It keeps rinse and repeat. Just look at this kind of moves in here with this kind of fake outs happening kind of somewhere in there. So it's basically the same thing that we're going to eventually try to see again on the DAX. Okay, so it's maybe 1 month and a half, maybe something like that, that we talked about how to approach all-time highs movements in here. So yes, that's basically what we have in here on the DAX in here. Then later on, I'm going to go into crypto. You know what? Let's take a look at crypto straight away in here. All right, crypto. Okay, so basically crypto total market is again a good reflection of what BTC may be doing. Now we are reacting from this demand zone. That's basically one of the levels that was still fresh after this push up, and I'm going to be curious to see how price may react from here. Okay, so basically we managed to fake out basically all these lows with that move in here beginning of May, and we challenged straight away that level, and from here we'll see what's going to happen. Price did manage to fake out these highs, didn't really reacted from the supply level, so it kind of left slightly that space in there. So that can be eventually a space in there that needs to be filled, and somewhere from here that's going to be the interesting level to see if price resumes to move upwards from here, or if you do break that level, then maybe can challenge one more time, and maybe next we go into this level in here. Okay, so basically this level where we are in here is basically the same on BTC, around 60k mark. Okay, that's basically where Bitcoin reacted, getting back into this 60,000 mark, and that's what you're going to be looking. Okay, it also fake out that high in there. Okay, in here it didn't really reach the final zone, which is maybe in there, and now we are starting to again getting closer to this level. Same thing, we fake out this structure, we went below quite aggressively, start reversing from here, and we left this demand zone in here. Okay, so by any chance, if you are looking for any potential longs of maybe price challenging the highs one more time, I think this could be a reasonable level to look for. Maybe getting some better PA in here, and eventually can go. Of course, you do have maybe this supply level can react from. Price starts to break some structure here, so that's nice, and we'll see. Okay, so we'll see if what price may do around this level. If it goes back a little bit more, maybe get actually the touch into this demand zone, that could be reasonable, and then maybe can turn and maybe can go higher from here. If you start breaking below that level, there's maybe one last one in here, and if this one also sees as well, then we're going to go lower, and at this point maybe getting to 52 at this point. Okay, I think that will be, it's basically either maybe react from here, or maybe just a small reaction from that level. Otherwise, I think 52, I think, is going to be eventually the target. But from here, yes, price can definitely challenge to go higher in there. So that's a little bit on BTC. And Ethereum also kind of reacting again. Maybe I would still like to see Ethereum getting closer a bit more towards zero. Okay, price respected this level. I would like to see it maybe getting a bit more closer, bit more to the extreme, and actually maybe taking this level and react from the next one. So that's still a possibility. Ethereum respected supply, opposite to Bitcoin, kind of left that gap in there, continue to break a little bit more downside, and we are here now. So again, if by any chance, if it wants to go higher from here, I wouldn't be against it neither. Okay, because that's kind of in reaction to these left shoulders as well, kind of already broke that high. So that could be interesting if by any chance prices want to go higher from here. Okay with it, but eventually maybe the tendency could be to see it going a bit more to downside, maybe getting closer to this level. We'll see. Okay, so far the reaction not bad. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of anything in here. Maybe this is actually one of the last levels that is still fresh, that was still fresh, because price just reacted from it. Underneath that level, I don't really know if there's anything in here that price can still hold or not. So that's yeah, that's Ethereum. So we will see what's going to happen. And Savannah, it's a bit more bullish in here. We'll see. I still like this level on Savannah, maybe around 125. The price does want to go there. I'd like to see maybe a new high being created before that to happen, but we'll see as well what may happen in here. Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting one to follow. Yeah, so euro dollar. Let's get back at this one. Yeah, I mean, even with the standards and the rain, it's super warm in here. All right, so euro, it's quite similar to the dollar index, and I'm talking about that high, which on dollar index it will be kind of that low. It was the one created on the 3rd of May with NFP. Okay. Yes, we are kind of respecting this level. Actually, if I count this high, this level in here, it doesn't look that interesting in this time frame, even though it kind of reacted nicely from that level. But on the daily time frame, it's actually quite good. Just literally that open of that daily candle, retesting this level in here and start challenging a bit more higher. Again, in my opinion, eventually euro dollar could go and take these highs. So I think that could be reasonable eventually on the euro dollar. But at this point, we are kind of creating this pattern here. Again, this could be maybe a push lower before even going higher one more time in here, which can be interesting. Maybe retest this demand zone. Maybe that can be reasonable as well to get closer to that level in there. So we'll see what's going to happen around here on the euro dollar. Yes, we did manage to fake out this high. I don't really like anything in here. Maybe a little bit in there, it was okay. Yeah, at this point, don't really like this high neither. So if you want to go all the way and retest this, yep, if you want to go all the way maybe down and retest this demand zone, maybe that could be a possibility in here. Personally, again, I would eventually like to see this one moving higher, maybe starting to get closer to this level in there. Yeah, so we'll see how it's going to open market. Yeah, maybe something that can be interesting. Pound. Okay, pound moved slightly more comparing with the euro. Again, there were more news in the especially with the Bank of England interest rate decision. So we had that move again. BOEs, when you do have those interest rates in the UK, they do tend to kind of shift market, usually kind of with a spike and then kind of reversing in there. So this was a zone that we were looking for price to feel a little bit more this range, and with this low we got really close or much closer to this level. Initially we did manage to fake out that low in there. So that was a clue that maybe price still wanted to go a bit more to the downside, and eventually did react from there, move down, and now maybe challenging a bit more to the upside, maybe getting closer to that level. So yeah, it's another one that I'm a bit more bullish in here. If price does want to eventually take or go below that level, then you'll be looking for price to get closer to the zone in here. If the pound dollar does want to go, yeah, if it wants to go lower, you can go there. Otherwise, eventually can take this size as well. Again, this is the same highs that you saw just now on the euro dollar, and move. So yeah, it's a bit in the middle. I'll be waiting at this point for price to get a bit closer to one of these extremes to potentially look for a setup. Even though maybe something in here. Again, we'll see. We will see. bigger picture, I think you can go there, and it can even fake out this, would be honest, and maybe go there as well. In here. So yeah, it's in the middle, but it decided a little bit where it wants to go next. I do have a bit more bias to the upside, but we'll see next. Euro pound basically filled out this move, filled the compression, and with the news kind of got closer to that level. Now it's ranging a little bit. I think eventually could go and fake out this this double top. In my opinion, it doesn't really reach the final destination, so eventually could continue to see this euro pound moving higher. It respected that demand zone, kind of compress, and then eventually created a bit more of a move upwards in here. So we'll see. If euro pound does want to go higher in here, then maybe a pound may wants to go lower, or the opposite. We'll see again which one we are going to, or what's going to happen here on euro pound at this point. Aussie. All right, Aussie is an interesting one. I can see maybe this one as a goof down on the Aussie, kind of at this compression here, kind of managed to break slightly below that, even though in here can be an interesting demand zone, maybe where actually price reacted from, but in the bigger picture it does look like maybe not that much, to be honest. Yeah, it could be seen a little bit as an engulf down, even though kind of respected already the demand in there. I'm curious just to see how price may react from here. We started tracking some liquidity in here at around this structure, so maybe we could have that last fake out, and then maybe price could push a bit more to the downside if it wants to go after faking out this level. So we will see. Now, bigger picture, it's a bit different because in my opinion price respected perfectly a low in here, so eventually actually in the bigger picture it could actually go higher. Since we respect perfectly this move, eventually price could challenge to go back into this level. Aussie dollar, but in a more time frame, maybe we can fake out a little bit this level, and then we'll see in here. But yeah, bigger picture, I would like to see actually price first breaking these highs before even going out the back to test these lows in here. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Somewhere in here could eventually be a great level to look for along as well. Price basically already broke that one, maybe I've broken that one, so it could go eventually towards here, which is also kind of that left shoulder in there. We could eventually go there before pushing price one more time to the upside, but so far, yeah, maybe faking out this level can be interesting into there. Yeah, I think Aussie can be interesting. Euro Aussie reacted also from one of the extremes in here. Okay, so basically I've been waiting for price to get one of these levels or eventually there. So it will start reacting, ranging in here, and it turned. It reacted already from this upper edge, and I'm curious to see how price may go back into this level as well. Again, if prices want to go higher in here, then Aussie dollar most likely wants to go lower in there. So I'm going to be looking a bit more closer to these levels in here at this point. I think this level can still be interesting, and somewhere in there as well can be interesting. So yep, so Euro Aussie can also be an interesting one eventually to turn. Now that they're getting closer in here to this range. We spend a lot of time around this level, now we're getting closer in here, and eventually you can even go somewhere in there as well. Then you also have even pound Aussie, which also it starts to kind of react a little bit from this level. Again, bigger picture, eventually looking for this pound Aussie to get closer to here. I kind of have been bearish on that one. Any longs in here is just to try to see price getting closer to this level, and from here maybe we can look for another move to the downside. Okay, I think this level in here is still fresh in here, and we have now these highs in here, so eventually we could break out that level and just push then price to do this last move in here. So that's one of the potential targets if you are looking for any longs in here. I would like to see maybe price actually going all the way until there. Maybe fake out this double top and we have a good clear target at around this structure in here to look for. Okay, but for that maybe need to properly turn first in here. So we'll see what's going to happen on the pound Aussie, but it can be also an interesting one to push price there. And then Aussie yen, which starts to move higher. Again, this is going to be one of those yen pairs to pay attention to. Again, we have been ranging quite a lot, and yeah, so getting curious to see how eventually price may react from there. Basically already has a little bit of a reaction from here. It starts to compress, it starts to show some weakness in here. Not sure if it had broken any important low, but eventually we could eventually feel this price in here. Okay, now are you going to fake out first this high, react from that maybe supply level in there, and after that making something like this? So that could be interesting. And then if it wants to resume to move higher, it can totally. That initial move down, that's kind of what we are looking for at this point. Price is just respecting this supply level. Yep, it's in there, and maybe there's actually another demand supply level in there that can still be used in here. So that's an interesting one. That's the first one of the yen pairs that can lead into an interesting sell in here. Okay, so let's see if that's going to be out in alignment, or if the move on the hours actually is going to have a big impact in here. Dollar yen also continues to move in here. Okay, so we are correcting again. The reaction is perfect in here. Basically reached the final target, or the initial target that you're looking for. It's in here in this demand zone. Also previous level of all-time highs, not all-time highs, but previous level of resistance that now is working really nicely with support. And dollar yen has been moving up and up and up, kind of respected that low, kind of respected structure, respected this structure as well. So it's still missing a proper break of a low to start showing indication that price is ready to, by any chance, to move lower. This is still the high that you're looking for price to fake out. Again, some of these yen pairs already faked out this high, as you'll see on euro yen, for example. Some others hadn't. Okay, for example, dollar yen still hadn't reacted or broken this high in here. So I'm going to be curious to see how price may react from that level. If you have a little bit of a fake out in here and then price goes lower, this demand zone in here as well can be interesting for price to react from, and then eventually can, if by any chance price just continues to slowly going higher, then eventually can get closer to that level, look for another big sell opportunity in there. Yeah, so dollar yen, we'll see. Euro yen, that's the another one. As you can see, euro yen has already faked out this level and is actually getting closer to that supply level that initiated that move down. Okay, now we are ranging in here. Start showing a bit of weakness with this compression. Still missing kind of maybe a proper break of a low in here, and then eventually can have a little bit of a fake out into this level and then a move to downside. Eventually can even go all the way to retest towards that low, and below that low then we can start even looking even below that. Okay, but for now I think price eventually is going to fake out all this structure and may get closer to one of these zones in here on the euro yen, and from there eventually can eventually make a good move to the downside in here. Okay, even if it's just towards this level, it's still good enough. And if price then wants to still fake out this level, then that's a different story, and then we'll see what's going to happen in there. For now, I'm going to be interested in looking for a reaction from around this zone, the supply level that was created during this intervention. Yeah, so I'll be interested on that. Pound yen also continues to go higher, and it hasn't yet faked out this level. So that's something to pay attention to. We do have still the supply. It's compressing. Again, we had a little bit of moves downside due to the data that came out in the UK, interest rates, GDP, and so on. And there you go. Like again, this compression is quite interesting, to be honest. Breaking that low, kind of start this compression in here. Another attempt to go lower, but price kind of just continue to go higher. Another attempt to go lower, price just continues to go higher, and eventually getting closer to here. That's more of where I'll be looking for. And then if we do still want to fake out this level, then maybe we can fake out and go. Like so, again, this is a zone that price, some of them had already broken, some others didn't. And eventually that can be a zone to look for maybe a bigger turn in the year. So we will see. Okay, again, we can compare with the previous one. Okay, we can compare with 2022 when you had the previous one, and what we'll see is exactly that, right? So basically the high that we may be looking for price to fake out is this one. We saw price breaking and eventually saw price resuming or retesting this level in here. Didn't really go as high as retesting that level. It just stayed now within this structure in here. Okay, and that's maybe what we can expect at this point. That structure is around this level, nowhere near close to that level in there, just somewhere in here where you can look for price to bounce and eventually resume the move lower in here. Even though again on dollar yen we kind of respected really nice that level. Okay, so that can be the zone where the manipulation is going to occur. That's a good question in here. So we will see in here. Yeah, but that can lead potentially into a really interesting sell opportunity. So yeah, pound yen, that's another one. And then CAD yen, again, spiked already up before because of the unemployment data in the Canada, again, better than expected, by this big spike to the upside, which got price closer to this level in here. So that's going to be an interesting one also to eventually pay attention to, which can also lead to a good short opportunity. So that's just something to bear in mind and to pay attention to on this CAD yen. Our CAD, yeah, our CAD was quite great this week, even though I didn't really manage to catch the short that I was looking for, which should have been in here. Okay, so as I described before with the dollar index, dollar CAD unfortunately didn't really manage to get my entry somewhere in there. Okay, I was looking for price to actually fake out this top. I start pay attention to this double top, and then I pay attention to these lows, which start to show some weakness. Again, what you want to look for, and then the final fake out. Okay, unfortunately I didn't really manage to get an entry in there. Then price just dropped and you cannot feel that first level, which would be kind of retest towards this one in here. And then this is a beautiful move in the middle. It's something that I'm going to start trying to catch as well. I do ignore a lot these type of movements when they are in the middle. I kind of just wait either for price to get closer to this level or eventually get closer to the lows, and from there maybe to look for another reversal or something closer to the extreme in here. Yeah, this is exactly the example that I showed. This is the one that we talked about. Initially, I didn't have any marks, and I asked you guys, how could you have participated in the short in here? Because I didn't really had one, and I was actually curious to see how do you guys have participated. This is where you mentioned that if you had a good bias to look for a sell, maybe you could have tried somewhere in there. This price kind of broke that level nicely, kind of the supply kind of keeps holding. And then this is the other one, like where you have already good structure, we have the break to downside, then it's about fake out, and this is actually a good trigger in there. I was not paying attention to this in this moment, but this is something that I want to be more aware of and to pre-mark in my pre-market analysis, kind of to have kind of some alerts placed around this level to look for those opportunities, because they do tend to be quite nice, because they tend to be in continuation. in here after kind of turning in there. This is kind of more of just a range in the middle just to create more liquidity before actually then challenge the walls. Even if it's just towards that level, it's already a good enough of a target in there. And you have a clear PA actually in there. So I'm going to try to be more active looking for this type of setups, these ones in the middle, something that I've been completely ignoring. In here, it's a really good move. Yeah, it's a pity that I didn't manage to get the entry in there. And now this is what I mentioned before as well. Right? So we have this low created during NFP, and dollar CAD is the first one that actually got closer to this level. Okay, and price apparently still respected one of the demands in here. We actually have this left shoulder as well. So it was not a bad reaction at this point. In here, we definitely still have this supply level, so we'll see what's going to happen. In my opinion, this low in here is not really the final destination neither. I think price does maybe want to continue to move lower, at least maybe get closer to here. If not even then continue to move down. Now we've respected perfectly these highs. So yeah, maybe somewhere in here. We do have this strong level of support resistance, so that's a level to pay attention to. But maybe we can go closer to this demand zone first before maybe trying to challenge again. So we'll see. It's missing also a break of a high. Okay, basically you have price not really managed to break any highs. Unrespected. Okay, so that's something that's also missing. But if you do manage to break above this level, maybe can be a little bit of a bullish sign that price may wants to turn in here, either already from that level or okay, so either something like this and then eventually go higher, or can even take that one and just continue to move forward eventually, maybe react now from this level and go higher after that. So yeah, so Jack said, like I said, also you have the added protection of that you're shorting the top of the range, which is a good trade regardless. Yeah, we're shorting the top of the range. Yeah, are you talking about the one in the middle? This one in here? Because even if you short this one, yeah, even with the target in here, it's already a good target. If it actually continues to go lower, it's even a bigger target, right? So yeah, we can be safe just by even trading this range. It's maybe enough in there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I would have taken some partials 100%, even though there was some kind of news in here. And price then just literally broke through it. But yes, but what I would like to see in here is this level, right? So this one for me is a confirmation that maybe price wants to go lower. This is one of those engulfs down, and then everything in here is just a fake out in here. So this actually, it starts to be one of those triggers for me to start looking lower. But yeah, 100% as you mentioned, it's the upper edge of a range, and we can even just trade between this level. And can be already enough to take some partials, to take some profit, and most likely this trade will never end up in a loss unless you don't take anything. Like even if price just reacts from here and goes higher, at least some partials or just protect with break even at this point, that can be more than enough. But I will definitely pay attention. For example, this is kind of another mid-range in here. It's slightly different. Again, one of the situations with these levels in here is that price can spike up and down quite a few times before maybe getting the direction correctly, or kind of before resuming the direction. So that's kind of just something, and that's why the partials in here there can be quite important to guarantee that. For example, if you had shortened in here, like if you had kind of looking at this range in here, whatever, somehow, like any short from here, yeah, could take profit, like with the partial in there, it would have saved you. Like, I'm not sure if then you would end up again taking another short, like, because sometimes you may not get this short, maybe you get some other short in here in the middle. That it's still kind of a okay trade, but may not be the final move that actually makes this one buy out. Like, most important is actually to get some kind of fake out in here in the mix, and maybe there's still spice, of course, towards to whatever target you're looking for. In there. Yeah, the back test of the You mean this one after the break? Yeah, somewhere in here maybe. Yeah, definitely. This is actually not the type of trades that I tend to take. I prefer these ones where price actually spins. Where actually, yeah, exactly, right. I actually prefer this type of trades where I see price evolving and creating the PI to eventually turn. Not so comfortable with these kind of more aggressive moves down, up, and then kind of just retest. But it goes in alignment with the type of setups that I'm looking for, which is it's going to be in alignment with this structure, either this level or this level, which is then looking into the future. Let me just see if I draw this correctly. Somewhere in here, right? Whenever price then retests this level one more time, that's kind of where I want to see. It's kind of aligned the same range, the same price level in here. Right? So anything in here or in there, those are the levels that I want to be looking for trades. But yes, this is actually not my favorite. Again, this is actually a good approach, but I'm not that comfortable with this type of trades. I prefer to see these ones of price evolving, creating, and then turn and then go. Yeah, or I try to actually catch the move before the entry before the big move down. The retest, if this is that kind of quick, I may not be the most comfortable one for me. But there you go. Within this range, there's definitely maybe something in there that could have been the short, for sure. Hi Surav, how are you, man? How have you been? Did you catch anything on the dollar CAD? I think you like to short that. Yeah, some people like to kind of see a big move down, retest of the supply or demand, whatever, and then just short it out the way. Because I'm always looking for the fake out, I don't really like to trade immediately kind of that retest. It's just not my style. Like, I prefer to be kind of in that trade and then let price do its own movement and capitalize on the rest. It's kind of what I prefer to do. Yeah, so but the dollar CAD, the CAD pairs this week was quite interesting, to be honest. Another one that I did miss, and because of the lack of my analysis, it was the euro CAD, and that was a bit upsetting. You got the long on the 30th of April. Where is 30th of April in here? It's been a long time ago. Ah, you got this one. Okay. Yeah, that's a good move. That's a good move. Yeah, that's a good move upwards in here. But yeah, as I mentioned, Euro CAD, this was a big miss. That's definitely a big miss for me. I didn't place any alert, so that's unacceptable on my side. Because after we fake out all these highs, that's definitely a moment to look for a sell. Right? After we finally take these highs, it's one of those moments to start paying attention to look for, again, liquidity grab in there. The reaction on the left side is actually quite good, and you have also this left shoulder in there. So that was literally a miss, and the reason for that was the lack of analysis. Again, even the supply level is quite good. I think the previous high is kind of paused somewhere in there, so that supply was still fresh. As you can see, basically price reacted from the lower line and not the other one, and yeah, that supply was definitely that. This is literally one of those A+ setups for me to look for, and there was an entry in reality, and that's what even upsets me more, is that there was actually PI to enter in here. After the break of this was kind of, we could have looked for that entry. Price is compressing again. This is a clear compression move, and then you have a proper break to the downside, and you could have definitely looked for an entry somewhere in there. Yeah, so that was a big miss. Even the initial target just retest of the demand zone could be more than enough in here. And then this is what we call, again, a zone 2 type of a move. A bit in the middle, and it's a bit similar to the dollar cut. This could have been an entry as well. Right, so we have definitely this range. This setup in here, it reminds me the one on the pound Aussie. In here, actually, from a few months ago. Where is pound Aussie? 1 second. Is it pound Aussie? Was it pound Aussie? Pound CAD maybe? Pound CAD. Yeah, this one. On pound CAD, not pound Aussie. Pound CAD. Right, this type of a move as well, that kind of turn, you kind of create a little bit of range. We have the query fake out and retest from this level. It's a typical zone 2 type of a move as well, they kind of looked for. Again, I always tend to wait more for price to get close to the extremes, but I do need to get more comfortable also trading these zones in here, because this is a great entry. So this was back in March in here, and you can definitely see the similarities between this move and the move on the Euro cut this week. Like when you kind of zoom out a little bit, you can basically see the similarity. Again, push down, pick out, retest towards that supply level, and then to move to the downside. So that's also quite interesting. Again, pick out this high in here. So I have even the liquidity in there, like I have this supply level perfectly in there as well. So all the moving here was quite good. We start breaking some lows as well, so that's nice. Start breaking slightly these lows, compression, and then move down. And it was another one that it was possible to have to trade it in here as well. Okay, so there was actually this potential entry in there, and you could have got even the news before. Yeah, you could have gotten an entry even before the news happened, and then we'll take advantage of the news in here, right? But these are, again, it looks like that. Okay, I don't know if you guys can hear the thunders, but it just restarted again. Hopefully I don't lose connection at this point. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great example. So Ralph said buys change every now and then. Like based on that we need to be trading when intraday. Or else it will be trading against trend, and if we get BI, it won't work. We've also told this. But swing trades, we can look for counter trends if we have a space. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. We are always looking for space. Like in terms of if it is in favor or against trends, it's more about the expectation of the target, in my opinion. Of course, you can make it easier if it is in favor of whatever trend you think the price is going to. But in general, we are indeed looking for space. At least that's what I look for mostly to create my bias, and that can look for intraday setups, even if it is against the trend or not in there. Yeah, not flying. Yeah, me neither. Yeah, but this was a big one, a big miss in here. I definitely should have placed alerts. I didn't. This is part one of those A+ setups for me. If there is a kind of account that I like, it's between higher time frame levels with a fresh level that these highs didn't even reacted from, and then it's all about being focused in this moment. Like this was what, Monday? No, this was Wednesday. Yeah, it was actually around US Open. Most likely I was focusing on something else. Maybe on the indices, whatever. I think I actually was focused maybe on the indices on that day. Yeah, I usually focus on these pairs more, kind of not exactly on the peak of the either London or US, but it was a great opportunity in here. Whatever, it is what it is. What's next? Yeah, reacted from there. We'll see now. Maybe if retest this level, go down. This still is an engulf upwards, so eventually you can continue to go higher and get closer to this level. So that's still maybe the bias overall, but we'll see. Yeah, it is. It's really good, man. It's really good. And again, what upsets me the most is that there was PI to enter. Like if it was just a perfect reaction from the top, but then price will just like crash like this and not really retrace. Like for example, like dollar card where I didn't really manage to get the short. I wouldn't be as kind of upset with that. But this case actually there was PI to enter. So when there is PI to enter, I don't really see the move because of lack of analysis. That's upsetting. I do track those. Again, that's something that I also added into the journal. Again, I still finalizing that thing. I've been using for a month now. Still small updates that I'm constantly doing, but I need to revise that. But yes, missing trades is something that I also track, and I do track the reason for me to miss a trade. Like I basically divide between the analysis, the approach, and the execution, and I also track mindset. Right? Because basically that's going to be one of these three. It's going to be the reason, or maybe mindset. It's going to be the reason for us to miss a trade. Right? Either you didn't do the analysis, so you didn't see it. Either you did the analysis, so you were aware of it, but then you didn't really follow the approach, and that led into missing the trade. Right? Maybe on the day I was not with the chart open, so I didn't really saw it, or I did the analysis. I actually was following the PI on the approach, but then for some reason I didn't execute it. Right? Maybe second guessed. Maybe price, maybe missed my entry by a pip or so, or whatever it may be. One of these three most likely is the reason why we didn't execute trade. So yeah, I do track that. I try to see what's the main reason so I can improve on that one. And you can also improve on that one to see which one is the main reason. And mindset, of course, like that's mostly more connected with the execution. If you start noticing that you are not executing trade, maybe because you have, I don't know, you don't trust your analysis, whatever it may be, it's something that you also can track. But to identify, okay, like how do you usually feel around this period that you are about to execute the trade? Maybe you didn't in here, right? So that's something important to track as well, right? And then right, being aware of it, but most likely, like one of the main reasons to track your missed trades is actually two reasons. Whoa, another turn that is coming. Just saw the flashlight. Yep, it's happening. So missed trades, right? There's maybe two benefits of tracking them. First of all, is that it's good to create confidence that your strategy actually then works. Aside from your real results, it's good to see that there are some other maybe trades that your strategy is performing, kind of is showing, and for some reason you are not executing. So that builds confidence and also forces you to analyze them and to be more self-aware of it and to improve even the technical side of your setup in there. That's number one. And then the second one is to is to try to be aware of actually what's the reason that you are behind you're missing the trades. Like what's the cause that you're looking for, and then how can you actually fix that mistake? Like we are not just tracking something to track, we want to track something to then fix it. Right? In this particular case, maybe setting up a vert. Like if I had set up an alert, or if I had done my properly pre-market analysis on the Euro CAD, I could have paid attention to this one. If the issue is the approach, for example, maybe open up a chart, have the charts more in front of you when we do get those alerts. Don't hide the chart, have it in front of you. If it is execution, that can be different solutions for the execution side of it, or to fix it in there. Yeah, I'm back at trading a little bit since beginning of April. That I'm kind of back at being more active, and I've been actually tracking that data into the trading journal, which is interesting. I'm still missing quite a few opportunities here and there. I had a bad week kind of 2-3 weeks ago when I was kind of just obsessed with the N pairs, just trying to sell them. Just the week before actually the big short. Yeah, I was literally obsessed. It was not great. Because I didn't even manage my trades correctly, which could have avoid maybe a couple of losses in there. Yeah, that was that week. Yeah, but I'm back in here. I always take a little bit of time until start getting into the flow of everything. But yeah, it feels nice. I like shorting highs. I love shorting, man. I think all the trades I've taken basically so far have been shorts. I may have missed kind of a couple of longs, but yeah, most trades I take is mostly shorting. Yeah, man, I'm in favor of gravity, I think. So that's basically how my brain works. But I do look for longs as well, here and there. Pound card, again, I was just more looking for price to get there. Nothing much in there. Nah, man. Nah, all-time highs. No, all-time highs, that's dangerous. All-time highs is just, again, I did that session. I covered that in one of the live streams. How to trade all-time highs, and that's a different story. But yes, I do like to see, again, when price shows weakness and price starts showing potential reversals. Yeah, that can be interesting. But I prefer much more to short this type of setup on Euro CAD than shorting all-time highs. In there. Dollar franc Swiss, basically nothing has happened in here this week after that beautiful move. This was another miss in there. This beautiful move in here on the downside, to the downside that we kind of looked at a few weeks ago. Perfect reaction from there. And yeah, eventually I'm expecting price to resume the move to the downside. So I see this one as an engulf down. It's just question mark from where. Is it from here and price will move down, or maybe getting in there? This is a good level. This will be an interesting level, and that will be an interesting level as well. So far it's kind of turning in here. Maybe can fake out this high, just react from that level, which can be interesting on a time frame. In here, just kind of a gap in there. So yes, we may fake out this high one more time. This is not a bad level. Price kind of reacted. We have already liquidity being created in here. Price already broke some lows, so we have that level. And maybe a retest towards here could still be reasonable, and then maybe price will just move lower. So that can be one of those trades, kind of a bit more in the middle. We also broke this low already in there, so that could be maybe a bit more of a move down. So we'll see. Okay, and maybe at least challenge a bit more these levels in here. So that can be interesting on the dollar franc Swiss, somewhere in there. Otherwise, price, if it starts breaking above this level, then next level somewhere in there. And all of a sudden, you are looking for this high in here to be faked out. And by any chance this level continues to be ignored, it's pulling down in here. Then somewhere in there. Yeah, so that's basically dollar franc Swiss in here until eventually maybe feel the rest of this level in there. Yeah, without pass is super hard. Again, that's why I mentioned, right? That's why I mentioned that how the approach trying to short all-time highs, that's requires more patience and actually waiting for price to show proper weakness. To avoid sell any kind of double tops, that's first and foremost. And yes, yeah, having price on the left side is much easier. And then gold, what can we say, right? So gold did respect at that level, starts to show that the turn. Again, I was looking for price to get maybe closer to this demand zone. It never really got there. It just fake out this well. Again, this is one of those zone 2 type of a move again that we have in here. After basically zone 1 is created, basically which is the low, we kind of create this type of range. In this case, price still have that level behind, but we do have this fake out happening and price eventually turn. Again, Greenway just smashed it with these 2 longs that he got. I don't know where he exactly closed this last position. But yeah, man, when you are in the zone with your trading, it's just amazing. Everything kind of goes in alignment with what you want. Every trade you take, it looks like it's just moving in your direction, which is amazing. But yeah, meanwhile, everything was compressing here, so perfect. I was looking a bit deeper, never got there. And yep, reacting a bit from here. I do like this level, somewhere a little bit high. Price does want to go there. Of course, in here can be also interesting. And at this point, somewhere in here is maybe the level where we may look for. In here, actually, the demand is already reacted from in here. So yeah, I am curious just to see now what gold is going to do. It's going to bounce between this level, yes or not. We'll see. Basically, we are back into this range. Okay, so I had this level in here, price went below it, now back into it again, and we'll see. Okay, so he's going to retest this level, he's going to go back to this level again, it's just going to go there. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. This is more of a mid-range, even though it's a really good reaction from this push up, so that's a really great level in there. It's not a bad one. Price does tend to react from these zones, so that's always a level that we need to be aware of. We'll see. We'll see on gold. It's more in the middle in here. I won't go all-time highs. Yeah. There you go, right? That's why the market is always going, right? There's always buyers and sellers everywhere. The market. Nah, man, it's more a bigger purpose for that. Because people like to make money. And the market is a great way to gamble. Human beings are gamblers by nature. They like to make money. They like to trade. Trades, I don't even mean trade in this sense. Trade even before there was a market. Just the thing of trading, of a trade like 1000 years ago. Yeah. And they found that this way it was a great way to make some money, to take money from yeah, maybe from the retailers to Wall Street. Of course, meanwhile, internet come up, so everyone could start being more educated. It facilitated for everyone also to be able to trade. Like you no longer had to call a broker to tell which position to buy or what price to do it. You could start doing that yourself. And yeah, that's where we are now. Like and this is a game of greed, of fear, of playing with our emotions, and that's what it is basically. That's exactly what it is. And of course, if you want to look at the economical reasons, yeah, it creates liquidity. It gives power for the companies to potentially expand. It can be a fair approach towards capitalism. Capitalism in terms of if you are performing well, most likely your stock price is going to increase. If you are not performing so well, your stock price is going to decrease. Of course, there is those crazy moments where even if you are performing well, you can still go lower. But that's why those guys usually should play more in a higher time frame, not intraday like we are. Yeah. That's a good point as well, Jack, in terms of stats and how the probabilistic thinking or thought process that is required to eventually make it in trading. But yeah, I mean, again, as human beings, we like games. I think we like make money, and we like to think that we are smarter than we think we are, and smarter than the individual next to us. And that's basically what basically this represents. yeah, maybe there was no, yeah, maybe again, as you mentioned, like commodities and stuff, it goes from a long time ago. A trading stock market is maybe just from 200, 300. Yeah, we get educated, we find ways to play a new game. Right? That's maybe when they finally found out that this is possible. And that's what it is. To be honest with you, I never really kind of read anything in particular, kind of the origin of it. Maybe that would be an interesting read, something to find out. I don't know even if there's a movie or not about it as neither, or a podcast or something, or documentary. But yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, and everyone has their different purpose in this. It's also a way to sell the dream, right? To sell the dream that maybe can also make it, that it's possible. One of the ways to make it. Gold, we'll see. And oil was another one that played out quite nicely this week. After so many days kind of moving to the downside, it got closer to that demand zone and it starts to slow down in here. Turn. I was looking actually for price to get closer to this $81 mark, somewhere in there to short, but price still respected this level. So that may be left for the future, something in there. And let's see now how price may react from these lows in here. That's kind of the next level to pay attention to in here. If price does want to continue to move lower, then we will see. I think this level can still be fresh as well. And if you start breaking into this compression, then maybe somewhere in there. And yeah, that eventually can be an interesting level to look for. Yeah, geopolitical wise, I think things are slowing down a little bit. So yeah, we'll see. But at this point, I'm going to be interested to look for something in here. I would have preferred actually a small fake out in here, price moving down and then fake out. This holding still shows a bit more of a bearish momentum in there. Curious about that one, and curious about this one, and then about this one. So yeah, in my opinion, this one is still fresh. Again, if you look at Brent actually already reacted from it. Where are we? So Brent already reacted from that demand. I remember making a video about that, or kind of talking about that during the stream, which now left this demand left behind. Okay, so Brent can maybe just react from here, and crude oil can actually go somewhere in there and go. So that's something to bear in mind in here. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, I've been super active on Oil Jack, which is great, and I think I may be joining you, to be honest. I think I may start joining you as well, because it's nice. But which are you trading futures? Which one are you trading usually? And even though I'm actually usually analyzing more crude oil, I actually tend to trade Brent because the spread on Brent is usually one kind of one point lower than crude oil. Even though the move is basically the same, but yeah, if I can save a point in there, I'll do it. Yeah, making money without kind of effort, like. Yeah, that's kind of selling the dream. And again, selling the promise of that, yeah, definitely. No, yeah, buy now, you're going to, right, it's going to go to 100, like buy 10, goes to 100, guaranteed. No problem, trust us, we know what you are doing. And then it doesn't, right? Then it goes to 5 actually, instead of 100. Yep. All right, guys. I don't really have any of the charts to look at. I'm again curious to see if the dollar, by any chance, takes the lows. Maybe the euro takes the highs. I'm going to be looking at the end pairs in the beginning of the week to try to look for those shorts after this strong compression. Oil can be an interesting one. Oil and gold may continue this volatility, which can be interesting. Indices, I'm curious to see how NASDAQ and S&P may react from closer to those highs to that supply level. That can be some kind of opportunity in there as well. Dollar CAD, last week was a week to trade it. Now I'm a bit indecisive. Now that is retesting this level, what's going to happen? Maybe not a short down from here. But yeah, that short was kind of what I wanted. So not really sure what to look for the CAD at this point. And yeah, that's basically it. Crypto, yeah, I hope Bitcoin is going to react around 60k. That's still, in my opinion, a key level in there to look for. Yeah, that's basically it. It's really pouring down, man. It's pouring down in here. Yeah. Thank you, Jack. Football wise, I think everything is almost done. Just basically waiting for the Euros, even though Premier League is still between Arsenal and City. Let's see who's going to win it. In Portugal, it was a terrible year for us, so nothing really much to say. And yeah, I'm looking forward for the Euros, to be honest. Yep. Hopefully Portugal is going to make it. Yeah, and Benfica, man. It was a terrible season. It was not funny to watch at all. Hopefully we get a new manager. That's what I would like. All right. Okay. Thank you, guys. I'll see you. Yeah, I'll see you next week on the stream. Again. Yeah, for Liverpool as well, right? Are you happy with your manager? It's going to be a transition period as well for you guys now for Liverpool. I think it's going to be normal for you guys if you guys kind of struggle for a bit. Never easy to do a transition after managers staying in the club for almost a decade. Yeah, it's you can talk about Tenager. India. Yeah. All right. Okay, guys. See you. Thank you. Obrigado.